All right, for this very special episode, I am so thrilled to be joined by multiple time All Pro, multiple time Pro Bowler, one of the best offensive tackles of his generation, Lane Johnson. Welcome back. It's been quite a while.
Thank you for that introduction. Yeah, it has been a while, but glad to be back on. And yeah, the year has gone by fast. Crazy.
I feel like chose an excellent time because we were just talking about it before we started taping. Last year we were in Tampa for the playoffs with NFL Live. So this year, as we head into the playoffs, it just feels like the vibes are so different generally around the team because it's almost like flipped, right? Because last year you guys started really strong, and then at the end, the vibes
Nosedive.
were not great. This year, it feels like the vibes have just gotten better and better. I was wondering if you could just talk about the difference right now in feeling and sentiment in the building.
Yeah, I just think last year we didn't do a good job, obviously, of adjusting. We had some stuff missing from our team, and we couldn't get it fixed. But going into this year, we had a lot of high expectations, and I think early on when we were 2-2, we weren't where we wanted to be, and we made some adjustments and really learned a lot from the games that we've lost, even against the Commanders. So proud of our guys, proud of Saquon. Obviously, this past week.
We'll get to Saquon. This last week, you guys locked up the division with a win against Dallas. And I think maybe people don't realize, I understand this is a kind of a lost season for Dallas in a lot of ways. But ever since Micah Parsons came back, this defense was formidable. I mean, since Parsons came back, first in sack rate, fifth in pass rush win, fifth in pressure.
Yeah.
They really put up a goose egg against you guys.
Yeah.
What is it like going up against a guy like Micah Parsons and just that defensive line?
Yeah. So, I mean, usually when we're playing teams, I don't really look at the record, but I know who I have. And yeah, Micah he's one of the very best. There's nobody that can get off the ball like him. He has the attributes, but now I feel like his knowledge as far as pass rushing and his moves and his plan of attack is more evolved now. And so, yeah, it's a long day blocking that guy. He's so fast and explosive off the ball. So, but always tough going against their D-line. They do a good job.
Is it harder to play with a guy with an unbelievable get-off like him, or a guy who's kind of has all the moves in his bag? And
yeah, I mean, he has that too. I think people underestimate his power, and so when you watch a lot of his sacks, he's going through people now too. So kind of like, I don't want to compare him to people, but I feel like people thought that about Von Miller, is that he was a lighter guy, and then you watch the film, and he's so good at transitioning power and just devouring guys. But yeah, it was a good game.
It was a good game for you guys. 4 pressures total they put out, which is kind of you don't see that a lot from Dallas. But in that game, it was Kenny Pickett, and then Tanner McKee came in at a certain point.
Yeah.
So I don't know if everyone knows this. You play quarterback back in the day.
Way back.
Way back. If you had to be the emergency quarterback, what kind of stat line would you put up behind the Eagles' offensive line?
Well, let's see. It has to be something easy. I have to have I'm reading this side of the field. I'm not reading the whole field at once. So we got to start off with some boots, some bootlegs, and something easy to get the confidence going. That was probably my favorite anyway, was throwing the over route on the bootleg. So
what about for
what it's worth?
Over and over.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's the worst play in football, period. So
what was the origin of that?
It's been around forever. I thought the Patriots were always really good at it. And, I mean, we got good at it over, what was it, 2021, whenever it started. And I just think the success rate has been good. But we have really, really big guys up front, like Landon and Jordan, Mackay. Like I'm 325, 30 pounds. I'm the second smallest. So we got some big dudes to run behind.
Is that by design with Howie Roseman, you think, that the size, because you have an unusually large offensive line this year, or do you think it just kind of happened that way?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely look at traits. They like to see people that are unusual, have unusual either quickness, bend, strength. There has to be something that catches their eye. So they're big on like critical factors like ankles, arm length. But with those guys over there on the left side, like especially Jordan, like he moves for a 365 plus guy. I've never seen a guy that can move like that. So run to the left.
So I think they're okay running to the right as well. But the Becton story is really cool. Makai.
Yeah, he was very emotional after this game, and I had to get away from him because I was starting to get emotional. But I think obviously he came here. He was probably expecting to play some tackle, maybe be the swing tackle. I think that's probably in his mind. And as stuff emerges and how training camp worked out, he stepped in. Obviously, he was raw, but having a guy that size and with that foot quickness and that arm length and the inside makes it so much easier. Passing off stunts. And I just think his confidence has really grown from, the start of the season to where he is now. So, I was proud of how he battled this year. He's had a terrific year, and just, from where he started and to, see him become what he is right now is cool.
Yeah, I was thinking between him and Falele, I think I'm saying his name, in
Yeah,
Baltimore.
for Baltimore. Yeah.
We got some of the biggest guards you'll ever see in football
Yeah,
right now. It's unusual.
Daniel might be the biggest guy. He's huge. Him, Ben Cleveland for the Ravens too. The Ravens, they got some big bodies too.
They got size. All right, let's get to Saquon. So next week is a meaningless game for Phil. There's no meaningless games in football, but it's a game that does not matter for you guys in terms of playoff seeding and all of that. You have said that you feel it's up to Saquon, but you want him to make sure he gets his rest. Can you kind of expand on that? Because obviously the Eric Dickerson rushing record is on the table here.
Yeah, it would be cool to get the record. I know it's special for him, and you're not involved in, it's the first time or second time, I had Shady my rookie year that had the rushing title, and then what Saquon's doing this year. But, it doesn't come very often. So I know it's special. So that'll ultimately be coach's decision or Mr. Lurie's decision. But I'm kind of, I don't have very many stats anyways, unless they're bad. So, I'm down to go get the rushing record, or I'm down the rest too. So, but you got to see the risk versus reward. So
yeah,
that's really what it is.
What's it like blocking for him? Like, how does he help you out as a back?
Well, I just think like he has all the attributes to where he can go and be a home run threat, just explode through a hole, and then he has times to where he knows when to be patient, let the block set up, and then burst. So I feel like he's really good at that. And then obviously, I think even the Green Bay catch is still in my mind. Just what he can do catching the football, I think is unreal. And just his physical makeup, he's 230 plus pounds and just a guy that's built like that. And so when you have somebody, obviously a talent like that and the way he works, I think that sets a good example for everybody in the building.
Watching Eagles run game this year, it's obviously been dominant now for years. There is a little bit more formational diversity. You got Hurts under center. You got him in the pistol. I was wondering how that's affected you.
Oh, yeah.
And just generally how you've taken that change.
Yeah, well, the more motions, the more shifts. Anything you can do to disguise or make these backers, these safeties think and slow down a tick, or they get in certain plays where they can't be right. So, I remember playing Luke Kuechly early in my career, and he was looking at tight ends, what they were doing. He was watch so much film and pick up on stuff. His intelligence was probably like nobody I've seen. But that's our job when you're going against players. We went against Roquan Smith earlier this year. So if you don't mix up formations, if you get too predictable, they will sniff it out. And that's kind of the cat and mouse game with the coordinators every week.
All the implementation of motion and some of the backfield's action, what was that like? That because obviously you see now, I feel like I should look this up, but I feel like illegal formation penalties are way on the rise in the NFL at the moment.
Yeah,
how much more difficult is your job in that regard as well?
Yeah, so when you have, we have RPRs, run pass run options. So there's a sign to where we know we're not supposed to be downfield, but there's a green light. We have a certain call that means okay, the ball's been handed. We can now block. But yes, you have to be very wary, especially front side of some of these blocks. You'll notice plays you're not supposed to be downfield. You'll be 3-4 yards and not knowing you're not supposed to do that. But yet you've been ingrained, or you played so much football, it's kind of like you've been hardwired. So, yeah, I can understand. The plays are successful, but at the same time, there's times when they go attack and there's times when to obviously run those.
Quarterback's got to help you out too in that regard.
Well, yeah, when you have a guy like that has the ability to pull the football, like I said, it puts those backers, it puts those ends in a bad spot, a very, very tough spot.
What do you think is the most underappreciated aspect of Jalen Hurts' game?
Oh, I think he's tough, man. He's taking some big shots, and I don't think with him being as strong as he is, I think he's able to absorb a lot of hits and damage. But he's tough. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen him take some big shots in the way he runs the football.
He gets downhill too. I think that's something people like a lot of quarterbacks see
Yeah,
Lamar, you're going side to side with the zone, but a lot of Jalen Hurts' designed runs have him going
north
straight through the
south.
teeth of defense. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's getting better. I think the older we get, the more knowledgeable we get. Times when to slide, when to so. But it's fun. I know it really does. It helps out the offensive line so much when you have a guy that has the ability to do that.
Okay, so I know your vote for MVP would be Saquon, but let's throw out Saquon. I have a vote. I actually was trying to decide
Yeah.
this morning because it's very difficult and very close this year. If you had a vote and you couldn't give it to a Philadelphia Eagle, so throw that out the window, who would you give it to this year?
I mean, I would want to say like Burrow's stats are obviously very impressive. Is their team's record very good? No. I think Lamar's like MVP or season now is equal to the MVP seasons that he's had, and they're a very
Yeah.
good team.
Yeah.
So, but it's tough because you have Josh Allen, who's
It's really close.
So I'm saying Josh Allen's always like the odd man out. So it's like
Those three are like neck and neck.
yes. So I mean, you got to tell me the stats for Lamar versus Josh Allen.
Lamar is slightly better statistically than Josh Allen.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
close, but
yeah, that's what I figured. I mean, Lamar has
all
to
right.
be.
All right. Did you watch Niners Lions?
A little bit of it, a tad bit of it.
So Ben Johnson, some of the he's doing with Penei Sewell right now in the game. I don't know if you saw this. They ran like a fake reverse.
Yes.
I'm watching that thinking like he's got to be putting that on tape for a reason.
Hey,
I want to know, as a right tackle, what is it like watching what he's doing with Penei Sewell, and do you want to do any of that?
I love it. Yeah, I like to throw it. I mean, maybe a few years ago I'd run it, but
Yeah, you're a quarterback.
yeah, but I think like Panay's so athletic that he has like it's not. There's going to be a few times where he's doing decoy plays like that, but they're going to give him the ball, and I think goal line situations, he's so big. He's 330 for whatever he is, but it's fun. It reminds me kind of what they did with Trent and San Fran. Kyle Shanahan was doing some of the motion, so. As fellow offensive linemen, when we see that, we're all on the train. Like we enjoy watching it and watching him dominate.
They did try. When was the game where they tried to have him throw the ball downfield and he had to take a sack?
I can't remember, but he ended up throwing about 3 guys off of him when he was stiff arming them when he was trying to throw it. I just want to. I got to see if he tapes his hand up like before the game and if he took his like hand tape off. Before that play, that's what I'd want to know because like we wear thumb guards over our thumbs so we don't break them because they get caught in jerseys. So that'd be an interesting telltale.
Also, I mean, how many right tackles played quarterback? I'm just saying.
Not many.
Right there, Kellen. It's right there.
Right here. Oh no, they definitely see me throwing up. Me, Mulata. I've got Mulata's getting where he can really throw it too. So we're really? Ready. We're waiting. Yeah.
I want to ask about Nick Sirianni because he I feel like gets. I don't listen to Philadelphia talk radio, but he maybe gets more heat than any of the players. He gets talked about. I got actually in-laws all my in-laws are Eagles fans. You know that I'm from.
Yeah.
And they got opinions. They were here for Christmas. They got takes.
Well, they fired them at you.
Is a lot at the coach. So I want to ask you, like, do you feel like he's like unfairly criticized, what is it about him that maybe the rest of the world doesn't know?
Well, I think he's just an excellent communicator. So, any outside drama or anything that may get into our team, I just feel like everybody is openly discussed, and it's always been like that from the get-go. I mean, he talked about his first press conference. He's like, guys, that wasn't my best. I would like to go back and do it over. But I just think how personable he is, how he's able to communicate, and I think his openness. I think that's what people need to understand. And but any coach that's played or coached in Philadelphia knows that the kitchen's hot here. So it comes with the territory. But it's hot because they love football, and that is what it is. I mean, when we had the parade, we had ashes on. People putting their parents' ashes out there. So that's what it means in this town to people. So
I think he's just also like so expressive on the sideline that just
yes, but I think it's like receivers in general. Like most of the time, like in football, if any like skirmishes are going on, it's like receivers are out there getting into it. And he's a former receiver, and
great point. Do you
that's
feel
what
like
I
him
think.
and AJ understand each other? Speaking of
Yep.
people who maybe are a little expressive on the sidelines.
Yeah. No, they get emotional. I mean, they when they expect so much of themselves and they're so talented, it's like, yeah, people get emotional when they put everything they have into it. You know.
If receivers are emotional, defensive backs are cocky and have to they have to they
That
gotta be.
that has to be the hardest position. I mean, tackles playing hard. Yes, you have to
Right.
be. Yeah, you have to be like Deion Sanders. You have to be. I mean, you have to have that type of mindset. I feel like
So what is the offensive tackle personality, stereotypical trait?
usually like a calmer. Just I don't know. We're like the Labrador Retrievers of dogs, dependable. Yeah, they're not the coolest, but they're pretty dependable and they make for good companions. No, I mean, for playing tackle, obviously you have to have traits. It's like playing cornerback. If you don't have
Right.
certain traits, you can't do it. But, the linemen in general, we have to be somewhat smart to get our calls and protections. So, usually, like with any good player, intelligence is up there. So some of these guys that, I play with and, have seen play, they're so smart. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, a lot of what we do, we have to be able to adjust on the fly. So it's like a lot of stuff we're game planning for, and they show up and do something totally different. So a lot of in-game adjustments, stuff that we do at halftime is, that's what's most important about our game.
Last question for I'd do a lightning round with you. It's looking like possibly the Packers
Mm,
two versus, which would be a rematch.
mm.
I'm wondering, is there anything looking? This was week 1 in Brazil on a weird
Yeah,
field.
that was a weird. Yeah, that was a whole. Yeah,
Well,
that felt
that
like
was a
a
whole
whole
thing,
year ago.
right? We thought,
Yeah,
I mean, Jordan Love looked like he was out for the season. Anyways, very bizarre game. So I don't even know how much to take from that. But I'm just wondering if you guys and you want, you come out on top. But is there anything you do differently this time around if you get them again, or you'd like to improve upon versus that week 1 game?
yeah. I think that week one game, the first quarter, might have been the worst quarter ever in football for us personally.
Wow.
I mean, go back and watch it. Everything that
Yeah.
could go wrong went wrong. So, but I will say, like their defense is tough. They have really good players. The backers are very active, and then obviously what Jordan Love's been able to do, his progression the past few years. So, yeah, I mean that was a hard fought game. We barely won, and we had enough self inflicted wounds to where we shouldn't have probably won, but it was a tough game. So
It was a weird one for
yeah,
sure.
it was a
All
weird
right.
one.
All right. Quick lightning round. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, so we talked about Micah Parsons, who I think most people would agree is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a divisive take. Who is someone who's really underrated that you've gone up against?
Olivier Vernon. He's not playing right now, but he was probably the most underrated guy.
Yeah, that's a good
That guy
one.
there, Olivier
Wow.
Vernon. Shout out Olivier Vernon.
What about right now? Who's someone in the league?
Underrated, I'd probably say Nick Herbig for the
Oh,
Steelers.
that's a good one. It's
Yeah,
so annoying too because you're like, oh, okay, finally,
yeah.
they're like
He
spawning
was,
pass rushers.
and he was training at my house for the combine, so I was here throughout the whole process, and I got to go play against him. It's like almost gets a pressure on me. It gets around the edge one time, and I was like, I can't let this guy beat me, or I'm never going to hear the end of it.
He is fast. Who's an offensive lineman who's really underrated? Who should get more love?
Man,
Non-Eagles.
there's so many. I think Brian O'Neill, obviously another good right
Yeah,
tackle.
it's a good
Spencer
one.
Brown.
Spencer
And,
Brown, what a season he's had. He's really, I feel
yeah,
like,
well, I
turned
think
it around.
he's always like had the traits. He was just new to the position, so he's starting to really figure it out.
When
So
they pull him on those like dart cons, he
he can really move.
he
Yeah,
can move.
yes, he can.
That's been a quiet story, I think, for the Bills is his
Yeah, his development, and they had Dion
development.
over there, and obviously he's super talented, good.
What is your favorite run concept that you guys do?
Pin and pull schemes. I love pulling. Powers up there, but I say pin and pull. Anytime we can get out in space.
Jason Kelsey was one of the sexiest men alive. What was the? Were you guys surprised that he got it over Jalen Hurts?
I didn't know I didn't know that that was a topic of debate. I didn't know that he won it, but I am not surprised. He's he's looking pretty fit and slim. I mean, he's lost a little bit of weight, but he's still looking a lot leaner than his playing days. So I can't see why they overlooked Jalen, but at the end of the day, Kelsey is a hot commodity.
I think Hurts and Barkley got you guys golf carts this year, right? Is that
Yes,
was the present?
yes.
Which is great. But what is the best offensive lineman gift you've ever gotten?
That
Long career. That really okay.
Yeah. I mean, we've gotten. Trying to think what we've got. We got a Rolex before, which is cool. We've gotten boots. Look, we got a Traeger grill, which is nice. Traeger, but golf cart. It's hard to beat a golf cart.
So I talked about you switching from quarterback early on, but you switched like you played like every position in football basically. Looking back.
Yeah, when I went to OU. Yeah.
OU, quarterback, tight end, defense. What was the guard to tackle? What was the hardest transition out of every transition you've made?
Quarterback to tight end, because that was, from not doing anything physical to, I'm at a Division I, that just lost the national championship in 2-day practice, just getting some education. That's what I was getting. So, that year was probably my toughest transition, from quarterback to tight end. And then once, I went to DN, I was around the same size. I was probably 275. And then Coach Hype, who's now Coach Heupel, who's now at Josh Heupel, who's now at Tennessee. He was the OC when I was there. So I think it was him, Mangino, Coach Stoops. They were like, it's a good idea to move him to tackle. Let's see what it looks like. And so literally I was doing a one-on-one pass rush drill, and I switched to tackle. And I mean, I grew up playing basketball. That was really my first love. So I didn't get serious about football till high school. So, for me, it was like, don't let this guy beat me in the paint and go dunk on me. I feel like it's pretty similar. So it worked out. It was definitely not expected, especially when I was in high school. If you'd asked me if I'd have been playing tackle, no, but hell no.
Who's the best basketball player on the Eagles?
Ooh, that's a good question. Ooh, maybe AJ. I don't know. I mean, all we have is like the fake little pop shot, so we don't have like too many like real games.
You haven't, yeah, right. You can say yourself.
No, it's still probably AJ.
Yeah, AJ feels like a safe guess for a lot of just who's the best at.
Yeah, well, he was good at baseball too, so I think he had a shot to play in the big leagues too. There.
Charlie's like, isn't Dallas Goedert a sick basketball player, or wasn't he?
Yes, I think Britton Covey was. I feel like Britton Covey could cross somebody over because he's not very big, and I feel like he's just so quick. He could do some damage.
Okay, a couple more. What was it like participating in WrestleMania?
It was awesome. Never thought I was going to be able to, do that. I mean, I just remember watching it when I was a young kid, the Attitude Era, and so yeah, it was really cool, like a childhood dream come true. So it was a day I'll never forget.
Who was your favorite wrestler growing up in the Attitude Era?
It was Stone Cold, and then when I was watching WCW, it was Bill Goldberg, and then
So I think I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in this podcast, but I was the daughter. We're similar generation, and I was the younger sister of an older brother, which meant I had to watch a lot of wrestling, Transformers, just my brother completely controlled the TV. It also meant that when we play acted wrestling, I had to play the Undertaker because I had long dark hair. So he was always my favorite, just because my brother would make me be the Undertaker, and he got to be Stone Cold. So.
Yeah, the Undertaker was a beast, man, and he's done it forever.
Are you watching anything right now that, aside from wrestling, that you like? That you recommend?
Well, I just saw Mufasa with the kids yesterday, so came in with high expectations, and it met the expectations. I thought it was really, really, it was great. So,
how old are your kids?
11, my daughter's 8, and then my youngest son's 5.
I'm looking forward to the actual good kid programming as opposed to the horrible baby programming that I am subjected to at the moment.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol. No, I don't like the Paw Patrol sucks. Whatever. That's a whole other thing.
Oh yeah, but you'll get your belly full of it, I promise.
Final question. Can you squat more than Jalen Hurts?
I say yeah.
You have to think about it.
Yeah. I mean, he's up there, but yeah, I can out squat him.
All right, there you go. Actually, one more question. if the Eagles make it back to the Super Bowl and win this season, what will be the number one reason why?
Having some mental fortitude, I guess. You know, be mentally tough.
Really look at it and compare it to what we started at the top, which is this time last year, and just that journey from that loss in Tampa to where you guys are now.
Yeah, those losses like that will leave scars on you and on your mind. So nothing's more motivating than like an off season like that and how it ended. So we're in a much better spot. Everything in front of us to go, but it's really 1 week at a time and see where it goes.
All right. Well, best of luck to you, Lane. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully I get to see you in the playoffs. Hopefully not in Tampa, because I don't want to go back to Tampa.
Yeah, I don't either.